Welcome back, ladies and gents, to the coziest part of Solana's finest podcast, Sol Brothers, markets, prices, charts, and technical analysis. Welcome to the show.
Hi, how are you, Simon? I see you got a haircut.
I did finally. Yeah, I looked like a homeless person. That is not my opinion. That was repeatedly told to me by my girlfriend. So I really had to do something. But yeah, I'm back looking like a Balkan boy because I'm also back in the Balkans. So
I see.
Got to blend it.
Well, I disagree. I think you look really handsome. I liked your hair.
Yeah, well, I mean, at some point you gotta trim that beard. So yeah. Anyway, I definitely got a haircut, but also the Solana chart. That was a good pivot. We dropped further down last night, and there was basically the US future market open. Gave us another flush in the Solana chart. We flushed a bit more than on other charts, actually, which is interesting. But yeah, I'm ready to take a look at where we're at in terms of charts and prices when it comes to Solana. And I'm ready to chat a little bit with you about some new macroeconomy updates that we got straight from the internet.
All right, well, I got the charts pulled up, so let's dive right into it, my friend.
Cool. So technically, we've been tracking this larger C wave here to the downside since a while now. And that C wave to the downside is also basically inside of this fourth wave correction here, this larger fourth wave correction. This is the weekly chart of Solana right now. So we are zoomed out, which is probably the best view you can look at this chart. Because here things still make sense. We had this 1, 2, 3 third wave to the downside, and then this fourth wave correction to the upside. Now, it looks like the fourth wave might be over because we did reach the resistance area up here and then had this sharp drop to the downside here. So basically following the scenario, sure, we could have seen higher fourth wave correction here, but it's overall quite a weak market right now. So I think it's not surprising that we got rejected quite early in a lower fib level here and then are now on our way back down. And the way back down is currently playing out almost as expected as well. We had this attempt to break out to the upside here. This was the fourth wave kind of high point that we saw at $150-ish. And since then, we've been pulling back in a 1, 2, and then a third wave to the downside. And then the fourth wave has been going sideways a little bit here. That took us from, like 10 days, I would say, like 1 week. The fourth wave here took 1 week to play out. I think there's different ways to count this, really. But from my point of view, this was an A to the upside, a B to the downside, a C. And then the leg down here, the fifth wave, has been playing out since a while. You could also count the C wave back here, which is kind of unusual because it would be basically a lower C than the A, but that's also possible. That would be just a fourth wave that stretches over time, not price. So that's also feasible. Whatever, it doesn't really matter anyways, because what happened after this is that we broke down last night from this fourth wave, and we basically completed the 5-wave structure, the internal 5-wave structure here. And now the question is where we go next. And I think this could be a larger A wave that basically played out here, like this whole move. And then now we are basically in a B wave correction that could bring us anywhere up here. And then we could see one more low all the way down here to complete the whole 5 waves of the larger count. So that's basically my next stops here, that we have a higher wave count here inside where the fifth waves are now completed, and now the B wave is playing out. So this price push here, if the fifth wave is really completed, then this price here could now, bring us close to the $150 again. It could be an overshooting B wave, could be even higher. But in an ideal case scenario, I think we can draw the fib levels here, and then we need to reverse them. And then this would bring us, anywhere in this price section. Actually, we're seeing the first rejection probably soon up here, but the B wave most likely goes a little bit higher than that. Normally, B waves retrace, in this case, into the resistance zone up to 0.786 fib level. So that would bring us all the way here to $140. So that's the new target area here for this next price recovery, if we don't flush further. But this reaction here to the fifth wave looks pretty promising. Like there has been like a good impulse here to the upside. So I think this looks like at least the flush for now is down. Only if we see something crazy happening this week at market open on the macroeconomy level, then we might push lower. But I think for now, it looks like we're recovering a little bit. And there are some signs as well that point towards recovery on the macroeconomy side of things. And I think we're going to talk about them as well.
It's funny that you mentioned recovery in the macro economic context, because I actually have a bit of a different point of view on this. But I'm really curious to see like how you're seeing the macro markets right now. So you want to dive right into it, my friend?
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. So the first topic that we're going to cover, of course, is that the U.S. dollar looks like that it's going to have another. I mean, it is early in the year, but it seems very possible that the U.S. dollar closes 2 years in a row in the red, right? And this hasn't been seen since 2006, 2007, the recession right before the housing crash in the United States in 2008. And so just kind of curious, what are you thinking about like kind of macro economic recovery in the context of the US dollar, or like what are you looking at?
I think this is a red flag for the mid to long term because the dollar strength has been trending downwards since a while now, and I don't think it's going to trend upwards in a zoomed out charts anytime soon. But this also means that the US does have to be quite aggressive with protecting their their stance in the world, right, in the global world, in macroeconomy globally. So they have to be aggressively pumping the markets basically to pump their own kind of dollar, and that works best by their own shitcoin. If you say it's not a shitcoin yet, it's still being widely used, but I think it will become a shitcoin at some point. That has been kind of the path of history, anyways. Like there's always a flippening or some sort of cycle happening. It's really interesting right now to see how like 100 years ago, we were working our way up to the Great Depression in 1929. Now it's 100 years later, and we're working our way up to the next Great Depression in 2029. Like this is totally coincidence. There's no time loops you can put on cycles. They don't happen in. I don't think they don't happen in such fixed time intervals, especially in our global exponentially growing economy. I think things become quicker. But still, it's funny to me because if you look a little bit and you study how the Great Depression 1929 kind of worked and what happened back then, you come to the conclusion that we might work our way into a similar scenario right now. Obviously on steroids, because markets right now are very different. Back then, the concept of a stock was new. Back then, funny enough, they talked about stocks how we talk about crypto right now. They saw it as, okay, this super high risk play only for this cabal insiders, you move the markets, and this is what stocks used to be. And then the one of the great American banks back in the day, and its director came into the markets and was like, okay, we need to open this up for everyone, open it for retail, and then everyone came in and piled in. But some sort of bubble formed back then, and the macro economy and the environment didn't help. But now I think we're working our way up to a similar scenario potentially, but in the long term, right? Like I'm not saying this happens in the next couple of years necessarily. It could take another 10 or 20, right? But I think all of us have this feeling, and all of us know that it can't go forever the way it goes right now, with like national debts exploding to an extent where you can't even pay the interest rates at some point. Like something needs to happen. We just don't know when, right? And I'm not a crash prophet that says, okay, this year we're gonna go down. Not at all. I actually think this is bullish right now. That's why I say I'm looking for relief rallies, because I think the US government needs to protect their stance in the world by doing things that will actually pump the markets in the short term. So I think 2026, for example, could be a very good year. Usually that's what happens anyways. Like, let's say we crash in 10 years, right? Then I think until then we'll have a great run. That's how I see the market. So, and you just need to position yourselves right. And right now the dollar definitely not the best place to park your money, as it looks like.
Yeah, definitely not. In fact, if you look over at the institutions, we were looking at this right before the call, and you can see that
That's
institutional dollar exposure is, down to
Yeah,
about
that's
40%, my friend. But early 2000s, it was about high 60s. So yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, probably not the best place to park your money, my friend.
That is actually very interesting. There's a lot of detail here when it comes to this, probably. Like, you'd have to also assess where is the money fleeing from, right? Like, who's offloading their dollars? And I can actually give you one answer. Do you have an idea, like, who's offloading their dollars the most in this?
I want to say it's
economy
like
right now?
Japan or it's China. I'm probably
Mm.
completely fucking wrong there, but I'm thinking it's some Asian country. Shiesty motherfuckers.
I agree with you. I don't think it's Japan. They have other beasts to battle right now. They actually have their own fucking problems. But that's a different story. But China is definitely the opposite. Like, they don't want to do anything. They want no exposure to US anything right now. And I wrote this piece as well on Twitter like 2 weeks ago, because I saw a report, the TIC report from the US government, that explains foreign money flows. And you can see in that report two interesting stats. And I think that explains the money fleeing out of the US dollar a lot. China has been dumping US treasuries since 2013 very aggressively. They essentially sold more than $680 billion worth of US debt of treasuries into the market. They're like, we don't want your debt anymore here. It's gone. Like, give us our money back. So they sold $680 billion worth of treasury notes into the market. And at the same time, UK and Brussels aggressively bought US debt, US treasuries. So they loaded up on US debt. And at that same time, China is also one of the biggest accumulators of gold, copper, oil, more resilient assets that have nothing to do with US dollar. I think China is offloading themselves a lot from US exposure, US dollar exposure right now, because they're scared that they could be sanctioned or something if something happens geopolitically. They don't want their US treasury bills go to zero when they're being sanctioned and frozen. That's why they actually dumped them at a 20% loss, which they did by selling all of their US treasuries, which seems weird as an asset manager or as a portfolio manager. It's like, why do you sell all these good US treasuries at a loss? But I think it makes sense because they're just scared of complete kind of loss of the whole thing if it's being sanctioned. But that's a bit alarming.
Yeah, I can't say where I heard this, but I was having a stablecoin conversation with a friend, and he oh man, I got to be really careful what I say here. But basically, Beijing is freaking out. We know that Beijing is freaking out. That's the closed door conversations because U.S. stablecoin dominance, right? Like they actually are at a loss to because China's official stance is like, we don't like stablecoins. We don't want a yuan stablecoin. They don't want nothing to do with it. They don't want a permissionless world, right? Like CCP and China and what they're all about is being like central authority over money. I get that, right? What do you do when a permissionless technology takes over the world? And now every other business has really high money velocity. But because Chinese companies are being told explicitly by the Chinese government, like, hey, like you're not allowed to participate in this economy, it's like they're at a loss now. They're not able to like money flows for a business really matter, right? Like if all the foreign companies have like instant settlement, but then Chinese company are still working on old rails, like day 2, day 3 settlement, for any one company, it's not going to kill it. But in aggregate, right, it just means that the Chinese economy will move slower. So it's like now they have to play the stablecoin game because of Trump, and they feel very pressured by it, and they don't really know what to do. And further, more like all the stablecoins now are backed by U.S. Treasury bills, so they're kind of Circle and Tether totally listen to what the U.S. government says. So if the U.S. government says like freeze China's companies' money or freeze China's money, they can do that, right? So China is like really at a strategic disadvantage, especially when it comes to this new internet money, my friend.
I think the only way out would be to accept stable coins and come up with their own Tether kind of. They need a private company that is closer to China that springs out their own US dollar stablecoin on the market.
Yeah, but they're like, but you get the China math, right? The China math is like, I don't want to do that, but then the other is like, but reality is telling you have to. But then the China math is like, I really don't want to. So it's kind of like, they can't make up their minds about what the fuck they're supposed to do.
Yeah, the US actually needs stablecoins, if you think about it. Like for them, this is great. This is because the whole the whole global economy, like they don't give a shit. They just want a stable asset in their crypto portfolios or whatever they're doing with digital money. And right now, US dollar is still the best one, and they just buy these stable coins, and they essentially just giving money to the US government in terms of debt, which is exactly what they need right now. So very interesting,
Yeah, crazy shit going on, man. The dollar is tanking. Institutional holdings of dollars are decreasing, and some people like to be called daddy.
Europe, I'm helping NATO, and I've until the last few days when I told them about Iceland, they loved me. They called me daddy, right? Last time. Very smart man said, he's our daddy. He's running it. I was like running it. Went from running it to being a terrible human being.
You can see in you can, without looking at the faces of the people in the audience, you can tell how they look like. I can feel it under my skin. I can feel them sitting there and like, what the actual fuck is he talking? Who called him daddy? And
dude,
why is he talking about Iceland anyway? I don't even get the whole context.
I know. So first of all, he fucked. So there's so many talking points there, right? Like, one is the most shocking thing. It's just like, is this AI? Literally, I looked this up for a solid 20 minutes. I'm like, there's no way this is real, right? And every single time I say that, it's completely fucking real, right? And you caught the second thing, which my dumb American friends, including myself, did not catch until later, is that he mixed up Iceland with Greenland. So, I personally, I have a hard time making fun of the president for that because I think I probably would have made the same mistake or at some point in my life if I were ever president.
But he's the president and he wants to buy the country. He should know. He should, you know what I mean? It's the same with the Venezuelan oil that he didn't look up if it's actually useful or not. Like he sometimes I feel like this guy is just, obviously he has like his scripts and people give him what to talk about, right? So most of the time he doesn't have any clue what he's talking about, really. And you can tell that a lot of times. Like they ask him questions. Like there was another clip while we're at it where the reporter asked him, why did you pardon CZ from Binance? And then he kept like talking for 2 minutes, and he just said the same thing all the time, which was, I think he's a good guy. He's a very good guy. This CC, very good guy. I know him personally. He's such a good guy. He has no idea why he got pardoned. Like he pardoned him, but he doesn't know why. He's like, he usually does a lot of things where he doesn't really have the context because he's the president and he can't know everything, I guess. So that's fair, but you should that's also a sign of disrespect, right? Like he's not. Yeah. I mean, obviously the whole thing is disrespectful. The whole Daddy Iceland thing, but okay, whatever. I guess
Simon, we have vibe coding, we have vibe trading, and now we have like a vibe president. It's just the vibes, man.
Yeah. He's vibe bleeding.
Simon, like let's get into the substance of it though. Like memes aside, there's actually substantive news on the tariff front. So you want to tell the people what agreement was made over at Davos with the former president of Denmark?
Yeah, so they did meet, and like the NATO Secretary General met with Trump and I guess more of the US government, and they're talking about a framework that should kind of help them to coordinate what to do with Greenland and especially with the Arctic Security Cooperation. Most likely the reason why Trump wants Greenland is for security reasons, for military reasons. And yeah, now most of the plans that were initially made when it comes to tariffs are at least halted, right? I don't think they're completely off the table from what I saw when I did a little bit of digging. I think they have, like, as long as they have this framework now, they have something to talk about. They have like a way out. But I think it's not the like using tariffs as leverage hasn't been fully renounced by neither Trump, even though he said he's going to pull back the 10% from February for now. but still, I think he's gonna keep it active for if the framework doesn't please him. But also the European Union also keep their anti-coercion instrument that they pulled out last week, and it's basically a package that is really bad for United States trade with the European Union. If they would really execute that one, that is I don't think Trump could handle, or I don't think they want it. So they also keep that on the table as leverage. So for now, I think it's just both sides have something to as leverage to negotiate with, and they keep it handy. But I think for now, it looks like they are working at least on a collaboration instead of confrontation.
I prefer that. Taco, Trump always chickens out, brings out the tariff hammer, and he goes like, I'm gonna hit you with it. And then Europe goes, try me, bitch. And then Trump's like, all right, I was just kidding.
Yeah, he did it before, right? So it's not really surprising.
Yeah, whatever. Fuck that guy. Anywho, Simon, I think that wraps up the coziest part of the podcast. It got a little violent there towards the end. You wanna take us out?
Yes, sir. Ladies and gents, thank you so much for tuning into this part of the show. If you want to learn more about Solana and get some Solana news, then make sure to also watch the other videos that we have on our channel where we talk about all things Solana. And if you're more into macro and technical analysis and charts, then these clips here are good for you. But either way, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube account at SolBrothersPod. That helps us. And we will see you at the next one. Thank you so much. Peace out.
Adios.
And this brings us directly to the next part. Are you ready, Noah? Okay.
Yes.
Let's go. All right. 1, 2, 3. This is Sol Brothers with my good friend Ino and myself, Simon, where it is our job to throw you into the Solana rabbit hole and show you around in our exciting ecosystem.
Our mission is to take you on the latest and greatest so that you never run out of fun things to talk about. Simon, I am loving the new haircut. The beard looks fresh. I've heard through the grapevine some people say that you look like a hobo, but I actually thought you looked like a Greek god. That's what I thought.
Okay, calm down, calm down, brother. No one believes you, but yeah, I get you. Thank you so much for the compliments. I appreciate that. I gotta look representable for this Solana yapping that we do here every week.
Yeah. Well, it's been another up week over at, well, I mean, not the price chart. So the price,
yeah, price.
But I actually, before we begin, Simon, I'd love to ask you this question. I ask you this question every once in a while, but I always love your take on this. Why do you think that the salami price and all of the tech, all of the great things that are happening here, all of the ETF inflows are so disconnected? What's up with that?
I think we're a little bit. I think the reality is not what we see, really, because we live in our little echo chamber. So for us, especially for us, it looks like super bullish, and that's because we take every little announcement. That's part of our job, right? I'm like being very honest here. Like our job as Sol Brothers and the job of Solana Foundation and the job of all our friends that are doing a similar job than we do. Like we're all in the same boat, and this boat is hyping up every piece of news to maximum, right? So if we see something that's like, oh, this is world changing for Solana, and we're gonna and we actually believe it, and I still believe it, even though I'm right now very reflected and I look at it from someone that has a different opinion, right? Now this other Simon maybe looks at it like, okay, actually everything you guys launched and did in the past 12 months is good, but it's not great. You're not over the hill yet. You still have some shit to do. So I think the answer is somewhere in between. Like we're at the far end of hyping everything up. We think right now the ecosystem is on fire. It's booming. We have we're gonna tell you why it's booming in a few moments here, because every single week we have crazy stats for you why Solana is exploding. But it's not that meaningful. Not yet. I think we're just not there yet. I think we just need a bit more grinding for Solana to really take off, because there's other things right now that are. And I talked about this before, like the revenue, the protocol revenue is good, right? But it's also not stable. Like if you want to be an investable company with a good balance sheet, then you need stable income, stable revenue. You can't do 4-year cycles, like where you have 2 outlier months every 4 years that are crazy in protocol revenue, right? Because maybe let's make it 3 months. But then it kind of reverts back to the mean, which is like 90% lower. That's insane. Like, which company, tell me one company on earth that has like revenue fluctuations like this, where you have like 4 years of kind of and then you have 3 months of extreme like revenue, like billions of revenues protocol wide, and then you go back to the mean. It's just a bit like that can't be it, right? Like Solana needs the we just need the maturing moment of a company, and I'm talking about Solana the company, Solana the blockchain, Solana the database, the ledger that sells block space. We need the moment where we get stable income from constant usage with global use cases that extend beyond borders, extend beyond time zones, and we're on our way there. We're right now still in the early adopter phase, but I think we're going to close the chasm on that curve, and then everyone comes in the next, let's say, 5 years, right? Very positive that we're going to do that. But right now, that's, I think, one of the reasons why the price is still detached from how good it looks like, right? But I think do you understand what I'm saying when I say we hype things up a little bit too much as they actually are, or do you think I'm silly?
No, I think it's true that to some extent, actually to a very large extent. I mean, like we're going to see the glass half full all the time. I really appreciate that very German practical attitude, which is all like, well, if what you believed was very true, then the markets would reflect that, but they don't. And the markets don't reflect it because your shit isn't as hot as you think it is. And I think that's a very fair way of looking at it. That being said, I also think motherfuckers are sleeping on us. So somewhere in the middle, as you put it.
100%. Yes. Like I said, reality now might be different than what we see reality now is. But what we're very good at, hopefully, is seeing the reality in the future that other people can't see yet. Because there I can paint my picture. I cannot paint the picture in the present, right? Like, because now the world is as it is. I cannot make shit up, right? Like, if Solana's at $120, it's at $120. But I can tell you reality in 2-3 years that looks different than your reality because you believe in a different, set of things happening in the world. I believe that Solana is going to capture a lot of value. I believe that Solana is going to be the place for global value transfer for all kinds of things, especially in DeFi. And that's why I believe that the reality in a couple of years from now is going to show us a SOL price 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8x from now. That's the reality I can see. Right now, everyone who's a bit more realistic than us is probably right. And they're like, well, what like right now, SOL should be at $300 if you guys are correct. There's just the opportunity gap in between.
I think we should finally launch Simon's presidential campaign. Simon for president of Solana 2026. Let's fucking go. But before we start officially campaigning for Simon's presidency, of course, we have to talk about some bullish Solana numbers. So the number one thing that we're going to cover for today, or the first thing that we're going to cover for today, is that over the weekend, Simon, a shit ton of USDC was minted on Solana. You always say that stable coins are a measurement of a chain's health. Could you tell the people a little bit more about your position on that, Mr. Former campaigning president?
Yeah, for sure. It's the lifeblood. It's the lifeblood that flows through the veins of the Solana blockchain. Why? Because the more money we have, the bigger our balance sheet, right? So if we get more stablecoins on Solana that are seeking their way, right, for yield, usually that's what they do, or payments, but mostly the idle ones are seeking their way for yield. It's the same as when the US economy is, not the same, but similar to the US economy expanding their balance sheet by injecting more money into it. They do it with money printing. We do it with stablecoin minting. And when they do it, they have more money for the economy, and that boosts businesses. When we do it, we have more money for protocols, and that boosts our businesses on Solana. So very similar process that happens here. Always bullish for Solana when we have more stables in the veins flowing through our system.
Oh yeah, 100%. And it's not just, $500 million in stablecoins minted over the weekend. We are, of course, as usual, number one in 24-hour app revenue. So This reflects the data a couple of days ago, but it's like $5 million in app revenue within 24 hours, as well as DEX volume hitting about $3.5 billion within a 24-hour period. I mean, Jesus Christ, Simon, we're just crushing these metrics. It's kind of nuts just how much trading, even in a dead market, is happening.
Yeah, I mean, right now, what do you think people are trading right now? What's happening? Why is there so much activity? And did you pick anything up on the feed?
I mean, some of it is just going to be market makers doing their thing, right? Keeping markets liquid. So that's going to account for a lot of the trading, I believe. But yeah, I don't really know. I mean, Pump Fund is still making $1 million per day, and I don't know if it's because they're max extracting their users. I don't know. I'm not aware of any really big runners that everybody is investing in. So and even looking at the blue chip coins like Cloud or Solid or Jupiter, you can see the volume on those coins are kind of dead, right? So
Yeah.
I don't really know what the fuck is going on.
I think I have like a few ideas. Unfortunately, blue chips and protocol tokens are mostly dead because they're just like there's no hype around them right now. But there's hype around certain things. There's Seeker, actually, SKR. I talked about this in our last episode a lot. So the Seeker token actually has a pretty healthy volume right now. I saw a chart where they said that Seeker is the most bought token from smart money based on whatever analysis they did, but a lot of smart money flowing into the SKR token. Arguably, you can imagine why. Like, it's a low cap token issued by Solana Mobile Labs, right? Like by so there's like a lot of trust around that token, and it's still fairly cheap. So that one is getting some volume, and then there's some meme coins like Claude that are getting also some volume that are just jumping on some Twitter trends right now that are going on. So there's always something happening in the trenches on Solana. That's a good.
You just reminded me of a picture that the White House posted. I think you know exactly what picture I'm talking about. It's the picture of Trump walking with a penguin over in Greenland with a flag. And then that created this like penguin meme coin, and it surprises me the Pengu community didn't capitalize this on a little bit, capitalize it a little bit more. But yeah, there's like this new penguin meme coin that seems to be catching a little. Hey, everyone is thirsty for a narrative, right? Everybody wants something to believe in, honestly, at this point.
Yeah, and that is a good sign, actually. People are hungry. They're just looking for opportunities. People are there. That's like that's the thing about Solana that always amazes me, that whatever market we're in, Solana is never dead. It always feels like when you're only on Solana, it always feels like the world is fairly okay, right? Sure, the SOL price goes down, but even if the SOL price is at $120, the market or Twitter and the protocol, everyone is still shipping, everyone is trading something. It never feels dead, which is funny.
No, never. And we love to talk about some of the bullish numbers here over on Solana. And so if that's something that you really care about, our friends over at Birdeye launched a report called Solana 2025, the year of ICM, Internet Capital Markets. And man, oh man, there are so many takeaways from this report. And in fact, Simon, we have a very special guest after our main podcast. And what are we going to be talking about, man?
We're going to talk about everything that happens on Solana, and they bring numbers with them, which is the cool thing here in the Birdeye report. So yeah, I'm definitely looking to talk a little bit about some of the technical features and stats we have on Solana, like the foundation we're building on, everything about validators and how well they operate these days, how it compares to earlier, what our average block times are, and all these kind of stats from the inside of the beast. And then I believe there might be also some DeFi related stats in there, if I'm not completely mistaken. But yeah, I think we'll see that in the episode with Birdeye.
Yeah, no, this is a absolutely beautiful report. They put a lot of effort into it. Interesting data. We should be covering a lot more of this. So very happy to be talking about all the different parts of the Solana ecosystem and where we're going from here. But that's not all, folks. Not only is Solana great in terms of numbers, but also, Simon, the tech is good. So you want to talk about some of the cool shit that we're building on Solana?
Hell yeah, let's kick it off. First of all, we have Etherfuse which has partnered with Shinhan Securities to launch Korean government bonds. The collaboration introduces stable bonds, which are yield-bearing tokens backed by verifiable reserves, designed for institutional compliance and predictable returns, bridging traditional finance with on-chain infrastructure. Very interesting new financial primitives here, built, well, on Solana. Is it on Solana?
Yeah, it is on Solana.
Because Etherfuse also does other things, right? But okay.
Yes. Etherfuse works across the ecosystems, but they are working with Solana to launch this new Korean treasury bond. And of course, DFDV, a top Solana digital asset treasury, DAT, has launched the meme coin Don't. In partnership with Bonk Fund, DFDV has launched that meme coin with no roadmap, no utility, no cabal, and no promises. Those aren't my words. Those are theirs. 30% of the supply will sit in the DFDV balance sheet forever, which means, that you're going to have exposure to the Don't meme coin as well as other tokens if you hold the DFDV stock. The DFDV team is made up of the ex-Kraken leadership, and they have a knack for splashy moves. So very cracked team over there.
And speaking of Bonk, Bonk also launches Winners Arc to award the best Solana traders with weekly rewards. So the top USD1 traders on Axiom will be competing for $200,000 each week. It's a lot of money. The top 50 traders by realized P&L will get an extra cash boost. You can qualify by trading supported USD1 pairs on Axiom and generating positive realized P&L. This is actually really cool, but also unfair to the people who lose money because they could use the rewards even more than the ones with positive P&L. But I get it.
It would be really funny if they did like a competition where you had the people who lose the most money.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, because it happens, and at least then you have like the idea of, okay, maybe I win 100k for losing 20k. Anyway.
Yep. Of course, our friends over at Oro are always shipping. Oro launches Grail, a gold API for internet capital markets. Grail is the infrastructure layer that makes gold usable everywhere. Users can save, earn, borrow, and redeem in gold through one simple integration. Fully vaulted, audited monthly, Grail makes it simpler than ever to build real products on top of gold.
Bullish. Next up, we got Ranger Finance, who launches the Ultra X Arbitrage Vault. Managed by Vectis Finance, Ultra X is built to capture persistent funding spreads across perp dexes. By depositing in the Ultra X Vault, you can earn up to 20% APY through exposure for delta neutral positions across Hyperliquid, Drift, Aster, and Lido.
Yeah, delta neutral positions are very sexy, but they're very tricky to do. 20% APY, doesn't that sound sexy, Simon?
It does sound a lot for delta neutral position across Hyperliquid, Drift, Aster, and Lido. Interesting product.
Yes. And last but not least, in our section, the tech is good. Function has launched FBTC on Solana. Bitcoin is the asset and Solana is the infrastructure. Function is unlocking the full range of DeFi opportunities on Solana for Bitcoin holders in partnership with OG Solana protocols like Orca and Camino. FBTC's expansion is, of course, powered by Layer Zero's OFT standard, providing fast and secure cross-chain transfers.
Nice. The tech is good, We got lots of bullish news every single week here. Definitely some interesting items in there. But what's also interesting is your current location, isn't it? What are you doing,
Yeah, I am over in Kuala Lumpur, and I thought it would be really appropriate to get in the mood a little bit. Let's get hype, motherfuckers.
Damn, what are you hyped for?
The world is coming on chain, and that shift is happening right now. We're building systems that actually work together. One account, across chains, across products.
Is it crazy?
At Cat Lumpur, you'll see the full system live. All connected, all real.
Now, why are we even doing Cat Lumpur?
5 reasons to come. See how it works as one. Meet the people building it. Challenge the system. Shape what ships next. And set the direction. 4 days with 3 things that matter. The system, the people, and what comes next.
This motherfucker is locked.
Cat Lumpur, January 30th to February 2nd, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Be in the room where what comes next is decided.
Yeah, so it's conference season has officially started. If I'm not mistaken, this is actually the first Solana event of the year.
It is probably, yeah. It's even before Accelerate. So I don't think there was nothing happening after the New Year's. So yeah, Kat Lumpur, the successor to Kat Istanbul, which was exactly 1 year ago. If you guys remember, what did we do there? We burned a cat, I think. But don't worry,
Yes.
it wasn't a real cat. But we burned a big cat. We also burned a lot of Jupe tokens back then. That was also something that happened. And we brought together the Jupiter community. And I think right now, you expect this to be even bigger than last year, don't you?
Yeah, no, this is on track to be even bigger than Cat Istanbul. We have a very killer agenda. I mean, the team is working very hard. I was also telling Simon about the new Jupiter office. I'm also trying to convince him to get his Balkan ass over here.
Yeah.
It's worth it. It's worth it. Let me talk to Kim.
Yeah, you should convince her. If you can do that, then chapeau. But yeah, I think what are the reasons why people should come?
Yeah, I mean, there's 5 different reasons why the Jupiter team is holding Cat Istanbul. Number 1 is that Jupiter ships quite a bit, and Cat Lumpur is a place where we tell the narrative of how all this stuff fits together. Number 2 is because the team and the ecosystem has expanded quite a bit. I mean, now I think there's over, I want to say 120, 130 Jupiter team members, lots of new partnerships with Fluid, Athena. And so we're bringing everybody together. A real ecosystem has to meet in person. Number 3, there's so many things to talk about with regards to Jupiter's next evolution. So we're not just talking about JupeNet, guys. Did you know, Simon, that Jupiter is releasing a mobile game?
I had no idea.
It's fucking nuts. I didn't know either. So, we got to talk about like what the hell is coming up next in Jupiter aside from, what they're doing with the exchange, what they're doing with perps, et cetera, et cetera. And also, I mean, like there's just a bunch of fun community shit that's going on. They're going to have like a Hot Wings contest, like fitness, like push-ups, talent show. I think last year we had a bit of a talent show with the community. And last but not least, we're going to deep dive about the Web 4 thesis. Now, I don't know about you. I have read Meow's Web 4 thesis essay, and I do not understand it. So I am very much looking forward to like listening to the big cat himself and getting a download about like what the fuck is Web 4? What is social money? How do we have a chance to change how humans coordinate going forward? He has a lot of crazy ideas around it. So I'd actually like to dive a little deeper.
Yeah, I think we need to. I always feel like Meow has things in his head that he can't articulate properly that are actually really, really good. And then he does that. Like he always does it. Like he somehow brings it to life, but until then, no one gets it. And then when it's live, you're like, oh, this is what he was always talking about. So, and he did that before, and I think he might do it again. And obviously, he has great people beside him, right, that are working on his team. Not to not mention Seong, who's probably a very big part in all the success that they had so far, but also the rest of the team. What do you think are the challenges of setting up such an event? You've done events yourself, and you've seen other people plan events, and now you look at Kat Lumpur and you see the size of it. How difficult is it to set up such an event? What do you think? And how long does it take to prepare for it? And how many people are working on it? Is it like, an events team of 3 people that set it up? Or are these people cooking in a whole department since 3 months? Or I have no idea, actually.
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. We have a full dedicated team on the Cat Lumpur side. So shout out to Ben Liu, Alicia, Ali Cat, AG. There's a whole media team with Sax, Little Unusual. I think Goatfish is coming as well. They're working in partnership with Super Duper Crazy, which is one of the events companies that works almost exclusively with Solana Foundation, but also with Jupiter. So the point is that there's a full team that's been working on this for almost a year now. And it's just it's crazy, man. We're like 5 days out from the event and we still don't have a fixed agenda. And it's not because the Jupiter team and we try not to do that like what we did last year, which was like fix the agenda like a few hours before the conference, and in some cases even during the conference. But we just can't help it because there's just so many new things and developments, and what's ready, what's not ready, like what are we ready to like. There's just so many different things. I don't even work at Jupiter, bro, but they have so much stuff that they're shipping. It's quite fascinating.
What's your role in the conference for people that don't know?
Yeah, so I'll be hosting, making sure that the vibes are immaculate. So I'll be screaming on stage, making sure people are here in the audience to listen to all the amazing announcements from the Jupiter leadership as well as the devs. And not only that, but hopefully just being a friend to the ecosystem. If anybody wants to get in contact with the Jupiter team and ship some pretty incredible stuff, that's also I'm very happy to act as a kind of a router to the right people.
Nice. Perfect. Yeah, I think that's what you excel in, just bring the vibes to the conferences. I think you did it in Istanbul as well last year. It was the first time you hosted a Jupiter event. It was also kind of the beginning of your hosting arc, wasn't it? Like one of the first bigger.
Yeah, 2024, I had done like a couple events here and there, and and some of them were big, some of them weren't. But yeah, 2025 was definitely the year where I went a little bit too crazy with the conferences. And 2026, most people don't know this, but Simon has known this. Probably you knew it first before anybody else. But my wife is pregnant, so.
Oh, it's public now. It's public information. Okay.
Oh yeah, no, we can finally say it. Yeah.
I mean, if this guy is saying this on stream, then okay.
Yeah,
so now I can tell it to Kim as well. I think she doesn't.
Yeah,
she just.
Yeah, it just means that I can't travel as much anymore because obviously I need to take care of my pregnant wife. I would be a total piece of shit if I wasn't at home taking care of her. So it's like, hey, honey, would love to stay home, but I gotta go travel around the world to work at these conferences. Is not exactly a good argument.
I mean, first of all, big congrats. That's really big news. And also, I think especially the more advanced the pregnancy continues forward, the more you have to be around her. Probably, maybe now you can still excuse yourself here and there for some travels at the beginning, since it's quite fresh, as I understand. But that's amazing. I have a few close people to me that actually, also inside of my family, I just learned 2 weeks ago that there's another. I'm being another uncle. I'm already uncle, but I'm gonna be uncle again. So because there's also there's a lot of babies being made this year, as it seems. So that's great. Which months are we looking at? Like what's the months of?
I mean, fingers crossed, but fingers crossed. But I think that we're looking at August. Yeah, fingers crossed.
Here we go. That's my birth month, and that's also the birth month of my sister's baby. So August is going to be a good month for me. Lots of babies coming.
Yeah, bro.
My birthday coming. It's going to be a Leo, probably, I guess, as myself.
Nice.
So that's good. Looking forward.
Yes,
that's good news.
No, we're all very happy and looking forward to it. And I don't know, man. Just very excited to be a father. I want to get like some Solana merch for my kid. I don't know how exactly we're gonna make this happen, but
sure.
Get them started while they're young, Simon.
Yeah,
get them some Jupiter gear.
For sure, yeah. Get him some Solana shades. Like a little, how do you call the thing they suck on?
I think it's not a bib. It's a pacifier. Yeah.
Okay, whatever. I never heard that word. It's a Schnuller in Germany. So you take that thing and you put a Solana logo on top, and it's gonna be fun already, because he or she's gonna carry it with him or her like the whole time. So that's peak advertisement.
Yes.
Yeah. Amazing. Good. Anything else we wanna mention when it comes to Kuala Lumpur, or do you want to call it a day for today?
Yeah, I think that's just about it for today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Simon is looking more handsome than usual, but he's already pretty handsome to begin with. And I also think that we're going to start his presidential run for Solana. So watch out, Lily. We got Simon Molitor on your
ass. Right. Yeah, let's clip this and let's show it to her. She's gonna shadow ban me probably. Anyway, thanks everyone for tuning in to Soul Brothers yet again. If you like the content and you want to see more of it, then subscribe to YouTube and follow us on X as well. Like the video, leave a comment, and do whatever the fuck you can do to help the show to grow, because we're here to stay and report to you with the latest and greatest about Solana for the time being and coming. Until next time, we wish you a good start to the week and see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay. Now, live stream. Peace out, guys. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. I see the usual suspects in the chat room here. Oh shit, congrats, Eno. Wow, congrats, Eno. August, baby, get some solid merch, and we love you too, OG.
Trump is going to get the U.S. in trouble. I agree. Soul Brothers to the moon. Fuck yeah.
Already happening. And Eno currently doesn't have a blue check mark. Yeah, Eno. Yeah, actually, why don't you get a blue check mark?
Oh, fucking Nikita, I know you're not watching this. If there's anybody here who can help clip this clip, Nikita, look, I think that you're a really smart, nice guy. I introduced you on stage once over Accelerate in New York. I did fuck up your intro. I do remember that. I did call you the guy with multiple failed apps until gas and TBH. But I'm sorry. It was meant to be more eloquent. It came out very stupid. It's in your bio, right? You had said you had multiple failed apps until TBH and gas and whatever. So I don't know if you're just mad at me or whatever, but I paid $500 for X Plus Premium. So give me my fucking check mark, man. I have been back and forth with your shitty customer service saying like, oh, well, your card issuer blocked the payment. So I called my card issuer and then I got the fucking receipt. And on the receipt, there are two things. There was the submission for the payment on January 7th. And then you motherfuckers on January 9th accepting the payment. And so now money's about to come out of my account and no blue check mark. And then your customer service keeps routing me to the refund link. And I don't want a fucking refund. I want my fucking blue check mark. So I'm actually not all that mad, guys. I don't really give a fuck. But I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed.
Yeah, it is annoying. Maybe just Twitter always does that. It's like, take my money. And then Twitter's like, no, we don't want your money. Take my fucking money. No, we don't want your money. Yeah. Take it back. Here's a refund link. I don't want your money. It's like, what companies?
I could be a dick about it and I could just cancel the transaction from our card issuer, but that's not good for X. That's not good for anybody, So and it gets my card canceled overseas, right? So it's kind of like I'm trying to find a win-win situation for everyone where it's like, okay, I gave you money and now you give me what I fucking paid for. How's that fucking sound, Nikita? Huh? I think that sounds pretty good.
It's the old economy. Seems like it's not working anymore. You should maybe take the refund and try a different card. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here.
But fuck these guys. I just want my blue check mark.
I know. I'm not saying that this is the best way. I'm just saying it might be the only way, unfortunately. So it is what it is. But yeah, let's see if we can get a blue check mark until next time again. Yeah. We have another interview here, right? In this.
We do have another interview in 15 minutes, so we could stay here. I mean, I would rather cancel the session and restart it and everything, but I don't know. Yeah. But Simon, I'd love for. I mean, it's a new year. Everything is just moving so fast. I'd love to talk a little bit about all this. I mean, this has nothing to do with Solana. Are you cool to vibe for a second, or you?
Yeah,
you down?
Just organizational notes here for everyone in the live stream. If you are with us right now on the stream, the podcast recording has been finalized, and right now we're just hanging around. But there will be another scheduled interview coming up in 15 minutes on the same account here and potentially on the same live stream. So you can stay around if you want to see us talking with Birdeye team about their latest report and take it apart a little bit. Until then, I'm happy to stay here. We can make a 5-minute break when it comes closer to the full hour, and then we can also make sure that the guys have the link and can join here and so on. Does that sound good?
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah. I want to ask you. I mean, the X algorithm is fucked. Like, what the hell? Like, what's going on here, man? Like, the X algorithm is crazy right now.
Yeah, I think they are trying. I said this before. They don't really fully control the X algorithm, unfortunately. I think they are X, but I think it's kind of a living organism by now. So they have to be a little bit careful. Like it's when I go through my X algo, I think it's still kind of okay, honestly. Like I do see a lot of my crypto content. Like the problem with the X algo is right now that it's very fast. It's very responsive to your engagement, very fast. So that means if you do accidentally like and engage and open and click expand and shit like this with 3-4 political posts on your timeline, then you might see a shitload of these same political posts for the rest of your day until you reset that algo. And so you just need to be extra careful what to click on if you don't want to see more of that shit. Right, but it's this is exactly how algorithms are supposed to work. I think like whatever seems to interest you because you engaged with it, you'll see more of that. So yeah, that's at least because for me, like I said, the feed actually shows me fairly relevant things to myself. I see the usual suspects on my timeline. Alex Scott, Eno, Cash, Spot, AG, Solana Marco. Like these are all relevant people for me. So my feed is actually super relevant right now. I don't know why.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, man. X is I think you're super right. Now that you mention it, that the algorithm is being very responsive, I think that's actually the right way of looking at it. Because I bookmarked and shared a bunch of links about Claude bot, and I didn't do it to one post. I think I did it for like 15 posts, just because there's so much shit going on with AI coding and stuff and AI assistants that actually can touch your messaging apps, that I think that the algorithm, I mean, that's pretty high signal for an algorithm, right? If you bookmark 15 vibe code topics and you share it like 15 times to yourself on Telegram. I mean, now my whole feed is like, there's no more Solana. Solana doesn't exist. Apparently it just it disappeared overnight.
Yeah. I mean, you get back into it, and then also you have the option to do like I do work more and more with lists, I have to say, because it does. Yeah, it's just it is actually really cool. Like if you create lists and you put, let's say, it requires a little bit of manual effort, but you can also do it with AI. If you create a list with 50 to 100 of your most relevant accounts, and then you just bookmarked that list on top of your X, right? And then if the For You tab is annoying you, then you just click on that list, and you will get only posts from these accounts, right? And it will be super relevant for you. And that's very interesting because some of these accounts I never see because the algorithm just doesn't decide to show them to me, but I want to see them. So that's actually good to have these lists sometimes, because these lists will actually give you access to accounts that you might be missing, right? So I have one list that is the Solana marketing cabal, which is basically most of the marketing leaders and so on in a list. I think the list must be on my profile or on Pierre's profile for other people to follow the same list and use it. And it has more than 100 or 200 of Solana's marketing people, BD leads, growth leads, marketing leads.
Yeah.
In one list, and they usually post about things that are actually very interesting to me, and I like to engage with it. So that's also a way to use the Twitter right now. And then I think soon we will get the new tabs, which are vertical curated by default from X. Elon Musk posted about this, right? Where you will have a crypto tab, and everything you see in there is going to be crypto, and so on. You have one for politics and so on. Might be also cool.
It's like I would pay. Well, fuck. I should be careful what I say there, because I'm already paying and I'm not getting what I wanted. But but I would pay for just like, I know what they're trying to do here. They're trying to. I mean, like, because we talked about this last Monday, right? And I think that you put it so well, which was the original vision for. Do you mind reminding the audience? What the original Jack Dorsey pitch for Twitter was versus like kind of where we're at right now. I think it's one of the better kind of like descriptions of what's going on in Twitter I've heard in a very long time. I liked how you put it last week. So do you mind sharing that one more time?
Yeah. So there was 2006 when he pitched Twitter as an SMS-based status updater for sharing what you're doing with friends in real time. The value proposition is basically instant connections, and like brief personal updates, right? So a little bit like Instagram stories, I guess, almost. But that's, you need to imagine, like, that was 2006, right? There was pre-iPhone, I suppose.
Just about, yeah.
Right. So then you have, it's an SMS based updater for sharing what you're doing, right, with friends. It's a very, very different time than today. But that was the core idea. It was just like, hey, what are my friends up to? Today, it morphed into a very different beast, and under Elon's leadership as well, it becomes a very different value proposition, because he wants, what does he want, right? Like, what do you think
It's
Elon
a media
wants?
company. Yeah, he fucking hates mainstream media, and he's right that news on Twitter, I mean, a lot of it, most of it is unverified, but more often than not, I get the news from Twitter first than, mainstream media. So he wants Twitter to be this place where there's an exchange of ideas. I think he's called it like a town hall for knowledge or ideas or discussion. It's supposed to be censorship resistant, but that's like another sore point, I suppose. But yeah, I don't know. Twitter is evolving into media platform, man.
What do you think about the allegations that are kind of obvious to give, but that Elon would use Twitter for his own political agenda? Because unfortunately, he is a very political person himself. And that's a bit weird. Like, if the owner of a social media platform that is also very active on a social media platform has a very strong political stance that he openly talks about on Twitter, it quickly becomes kind of reasonable to assume that he might even, steer the algorithm to shadow ban all the leftists and, rise all the right voices to the top. Like, I hear these allegations. I'm not saying I have them, by the way. But what do you think about these allegations? Like, is there a risk that he actually does that? Do you think he does that? What do you think about the political correctness of Twitter?
Okay, well, I mean, let's just pretend like that doesn't exist, right? Like, that he actually doesn't have any bias toward, like, the algorithm itself doesn't have any bias towards right-wing commentators or conservative voices. Like, let's just pretend that's not true, but, like, let's just pretend that's true, right? Even without any of that bias, Elon would dominate the timeline, even in the previous algorithms. And the reason for that is he fucking owns Twitter. And that matters because people want to hear what he has to say. So, like, it doesn't really matter. I mean, certainly we can claim that he gets more of a boost, right? Like, in his current iteration of the algorithm. But it would also be kind of stupid to say, like, well, if the algorithm was like Jack Dorsey's algorithm, then Elon wouldn't even be on the timeline. Like, fucking no, of course not. Like, that dude owns Twitter. People do care about what he has to say. And furthermore, if you have an account like that, which is basically a tank 24/7 with nuclear bombs, right? And then you start commenting on right-wing shit, like, even in Jack Dorsey's algorithm, like, that stuff is going to get promoted, even without any algorithm bias. Now, do I think that he uses the algorithm to his advantage to advance his political agenda? Absolutely, I do believe that. But I mean, like, he does have the biggest dick in the room, at least as it pertains to Twitter. So, I mean, what are you going to say?
I actually think that he doesn't even do that. I don't think he has to. I don't. He has to
he doesn't
do
have
anything. He doesn't have to. But because the algo, like, and that's pure. It's pure statistics, honestly, if you think about it. Because the algo's job is just to get the most eyeballs on content, right? Like, how do I maintain eyeballs on content on Twitter so that people don't go anywhere else, right? That's the job of the algo. Now, if you have, and I think that's something we could do some research on, but if you have statistically more people that are maybe right wing on Twitter as a user, right? I think the average Twitter user is leaning more towards the right than the left. The average user, right? Statistically speaking. So that means that also more people from that corner of the political spectrum are posting content, reacting to content, and engaging with content. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy that right-wing content proliferates a little bit faster and more on Twitter. And that if you post something that is a bit more leftish, you'll get a lot of comments in the section that are opposing that. But that also means that leftish content goes super fucking viral on Twitter because all the right-wing people that are statistically more people are reacting to it, saying that they are the opposite opinion and that this is fucking bullshit. So then naturally this content will also perform really well, and it does. Like, it's not like Twitter is banning content that is against Elon's opinions, right? Not at all. Like that content always surfaces. Sometimes it goes even more viral. Why? Because the North Star of the Twitter algorithm, the mission on top is, how do I maintain eyeballs on this app? I think that's the mission. The mission of the algo is not, how do I brainwash everyone into voting for Trump? I don't think that's the mission for the algo. I don't think it has to be. I think it can maintain its mission of, how do I maintain most eyeballs on content, and still fulfill the mission of, how do I convince people to vote for Trump? It's just naturally, statistically, because that's what people talk about. That's what people are, Trump is such a perfect fit for Twitter. It's like, I posted the other day that I watched less stand-up comedy since Trump is president, because I just watch him giving a speech. It's fucking funny. And that's perfect content for social media. Of course he's gonna get, like, I don't think that Angela Merkel has had as much content as Trump on Twitter, because she was just fucking boring, but she was also the better leader, by the way. Political leader.
Yeah.
Anyway, different story. Yeah. So those are my things.
Yeah, no, he doesn't need any of those algorithm boosts. But I think one thing that he has done that has materially changed the vibe over at Twitter is that I think in Jack Dorsey's algorithm, a lot of these right-wing accounts, or conservative, whatever you want to call it, right, strongman accounts, would have been classified as hate speech in the past, right? Because a lot of the stuff that they post, it's funny because, like, in this new world that we live in, it kind of feels like hate is normalized. I don't mean to be a social justice warrior and a snowflake, whatever, but I mean, we can't pretend like some of the shit that we see online isn't completely unhinged. And in the past, this type of unhinged content used to get punished very heavily, right? And we just don't see that much punishment in the algorithm anymore. So not quite so sure, what that's all about. But
Yep. Yeah, it's true. I think Twitter always has been a political kind of platform anyways, but yeah, we'll see.
Oh shit, Simon, we have a guest. Do you see her in the waiting room?
Oh yeah, let's go.
Okay, so we're not going to bring her on stage quite yet, just because before we get her on stage, maybe you should just give her a little bit of background. She's listening in the back end, so I know she can hear us. But hey, everyone, we have a very, very special guest today. Thank you so much for the over 300 people who have joined us on the stream. Of course, we've had a very long day today talking about the markets. Simon always does such a wonderful job covering the coziest part of the podcast. And Simon, we're looking bullish in the short to medium term, ain't that right?
I think so.
Yeah, just about.
Short-term.
And also, the numbers on Solana are looking great. Number one in revenue across all the different chains. Number one in DEX volume. 0 outages in 2025. Multiple clients. Freaking Dancer, 00, Jito Bam, Harmonic. As well as Anza's client, all picking up speed in 2025. And we told you earlier in this podcast that there was a fucking dope ass report that was created by Birdeye Data Services. If you guys don't know what Birdeye is, then you need to get out of the rock that you have been sleeping under, because they push out some top-notch research. I myself look at Birdeye about, I think, like 5 or 6 times a day. I also have the Birdeye. Where's my phone? My phone is somewhere here. Yes, I have their Birdeye widget on my phone, so that's where I keep track of all my tokens are not tokening, Simon. But we have a very special guest today. Her name is DJ Ha Trang. I don't think I've had a chat. I hope I did not butcher your name, and so hopefully she feels nice and ready to join us on stage. So without any further ado, I would like to welcome DJ. DJ, how are? Oops, Simon, could you help me out here? 3, 2, 1. I think we got it. We got it?
Yeah.
DJ, hi. How are you?
Hi. Hey. Nice to be here. I'm good. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, thank you so much for joining. Do you want to introduce yourself to the audience?
Yeah. So my name is DJ. You almost got the later part right. DJ Ha Trang. And I lead the research initiative at Birdeye. And I've been in crypto for about 4 years. Previously, I was in the Polkadot ecosystem, also doing research. Yes. So.
Oh wow. Okay. We got Simon from EVM about 2 years ago, and so always good to bring more people onto Solana, especially the quality researchers. We love you folks.
Yeah, there's enough to research on Solana, isn't it? There's
Yeah.
definitely by now lots of data. So you did most of the report yourself that was pushed out now, or what's your role in the report?
So yeah, I did most of the heavy lifting, the writing, but also I have the internal team helping me with crawling data, cleaning data, and also the marketing team pushing out content and promotion. So yeah, so there's a whole team behind that.
Yeah,
Cool.
and Ray was saying, we're pushing out this data report about Solana 2025. You have to cover it. And I'm like, fuck yes, we love numbers. We have a specific section of the podcast called Solana by the Numbers. And so it's really great to talk about the top line of what we're seeing. And when I saw the report, what I really loved about it was it didn't feel like just a bunch of random numbers, right? You told a very clear story about the context of these numbers, right? In fact, you have one of my favorite sections of the report is towards the end. It's the launchpad section, and launchpads were a 2025 narrative. Of course, we had attempted this in 2024 and 2023, but it's really in 2025 we saw the rise of Pump.Fun, Bonk Fun, Radium, their relationship and then breakup. I mean, it's quite fascinating, isn't it, to not only look at the numbers but how they fit in the context of kind of like what happens in the markets.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, like, what we do at Birdeye is actually having a clear thesis for each of the report that we push out. So it's not only just like, hey, this is what the year in 2025 looked like with all these numbers, but like, how does it fit into what is the bigger narrative? What is the bigger picture that we see emerging here? Not just like random numbers, but I think it's very interesting that 2025 with Solana is driving like a very clear thesis across different pillars. And the thesis is we're trying to make Solana the general chains for internet capital markets. And we're on the way to doing it, which very great velocity.
I always love asking this question to people who think about this question literally all day. How would you describe internet capital markets to your mother?
Oh, that's a very great question. Because you know what? I've been thinking about this a lot because here I'm in Vietnam, right? I'm not in the States. I don't have easy access to the international capital markets or like the US capital markets, if you will, right? It's really hard to buy US stocks in Vietnam. So I've been trying to look it up, and if you want to buy stocks in Vietnam, you use eToro, but the minimum requirements to deposit is $2,000, and you have to KYC with your banking statement. If you don't qualify for the income benchmark, they won't let you do the deposit, right? And it's so frustrating because if you don't have access to stocks and other different financial options, all you can do is buy gold, silver, and real estate. So that's the only options in Vietnam. So what I would explain internet capital markets to my mother is that you can now easily buy US stocks without having to deposit like $2,000, right? In Vietnam, in everywhere in the world. So yeah, I mean that's what a that's a like a what's the word that's crazy to me actually. Like I can't even imagine being able to do that easily, permissionless, on chain, everywhere in the world.
Simon talks about this all the time, where now we have access to yield opportunities as well that we've just never had exposure to. And not only is it a new yield primitive, but you can loop it, which if you think about it in the TradFi context, like Simon, like you talk about this all the time, it's kind of nuts, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a very complex financial instrument normally, like if you want to do these kind of things. And in DeFi, you can do it with 2 clicks, right? You can, you basically, like, especially the multiply and the looping is a very interesting financial instrument to me, because you're, with pretty much 1 click, you're basically taking an asset that you own, you're taking a loan against that asset, and you're buying more of that same asset. So there is a financial instrument for that in TradFi, but I don't know how to. I wouldn't know how to buy it and where to buy it, even as someone living in the West. So while it opens up the opportunities in countries that are not included at all into financial markets that much, it also expands my kind of set of instruments that I can use as someone that lives in countries where we have access to stocks maybe a little bit more easily. So that also means that everyone kind of benefits from it already now, right? What do we need? What do you think, DJ? What do we need in places like Vietnam or other emerging markets for people to really understand and use these financial primitives? Because if I look at the numbers right now, we're still so early. Like we're not seeing the adoption and the users that we could see for such a great use case. What do you think is missing to kind of onboard more of these people? For example, your friends and colleagues and family members to apps that are built on Solana for easy stock trading, for example.
Yeah, I would say two things. The first one is the legal side, and the second one is the UX side. So legally, I think specifically in Vietnam, we're in a very kind of confusing times where legislation people just kind of figure out how to do this. Like they just give out information every other week, being like, "Hey, we're gonna prohibit this," or "No, we're not gonna prohibit this. We're gonna tax this," or "No, you have to trade on a local exchange rather than like an open exchange or like or Binance, for example." So it's a very confusing times right now. And we're thinking that if the legal side of it can be clarified and people are feeling safe doing these type of transactions, then adoption will spike. And the second thing, which I think we've been talking in crypto for the past like 10 years now or so, is the UX, right? Seed phrase are still pretty much confusing to my mother. And having to do on ramp is getting a bit easier, but the fee's quite a bit high. So I think like when we can have an easy way to turn fiat into crypto assets so that my mother can easily buy tokenized stocks on Solana, I think that would be the tipping point where adoption will go up.
Interesting. Yeah,
that
makes sense. I see that.
I'm looking over the broad strokes of the report again, and Simon, if you don't mind putting on my screen real quick, and we might have to put DJ on. Sorry.
Yeah, just 1 second.
Okay. Yes.
Here we go.
Okay. Yeah. And there's so many different things to look at. So there's of course infrastructure. IRL is another entrant into the Solana lore that I'm loving to see. Obviously, block time has, I think, reduced down to about half a second, which is absolutely phenomenal. And with advancements like Alpenglow by Anza, we can expect that block time and the finality actually as well to decrease quite substantially. Stablecoins, I think everybody knows that we had about what was it, DJ, 12, 13 trillion in volume, which is like nuts for stablecoins on Solana this year. All-time highs for stablecoin liquidity. Real-world assets, Simon covered this the other week, but we finally hit $1.15 billion in RWAs. And obviously, Solana has been winning the race in terms of real economic value, as well as DEX trading volume. We've finally caught up to the centralized exchanges. I can go on and on and on. I'm just wondering, there's other stuff I did not cover. What are you most like having written this? I know that every single sentence is your baby, but I'm just wondering, like, which of your children do you love the most, right? Like, what about this report do you feel is like the most fascinating to you that you think most people should talk about or focus on?
Okay, so if you could scroll down to the stablecoin section, I think there's a very interesting stat on USDC turnover rate.
I saw that.
I think a lot of people question me about. So that's turnover rate by network. So we all know that USDC is the primary stablecoin on Solana. So what I'm doing here is to see how many times a single USDC token is reused on the DEX, on all of the decentralized exchanges, right? So the turnover rate is calculated by dividing trading volume by supply, and so you can see here that Solana has led the race throughout most of the year, most of 2024 and into 2025. And so the average turnover rate of USDC on Solana is 977 point something 0.48%. So that means that each USDC token was used more than 9 times per month for trading. And I think this is quite significant because not only it shows that a lot of trading is happening on Solana, right? So normally you would see stablecoin volume and stablecoin liquidity as a signal of the trading strength of a chain, of an ecosystem, right? Because everything flows through stablecoin. But the fact that it was used more than 9 times per month kind of makes it looks like a normal, like a traditional payment system, right? Normally you would have a currency being reused a lot of times in payment. And this combined with the fact that Visa has kickstarted USDC settlement for banks on Solana starting December 2025, I think that is a very big moment for Solana per se, because not only are we very strong in multi-asset trading, but stablecoin is having a real world use case as a as a payment gadget. I would say.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think this is one of the things that has struck out to me the most while doing this one report. Yeah.
How would you explain the spikiness of other chains, right? So like you can see BNB as well as Base at certain parts of the year have super high. I mean, I don't know if you would call this velocity. Is velocity a proper term to use here, or is that a little bit different from turnover rate?
I think you would also use velocity. Yes, turnover rate and velocity quite interchangeably.
Right. So
yeah. So
how would
the
you explain this
spike
this high velocity? Yeah.
Yeah, so this volume, it's not excluding meme trading, wash trading volume. So BNB spike coincide with the spike in meme and launchpad trading on BNB around that time. So they have a very big spike thanks to the kind of end of the year meme season on BNB that quite follow after what Solana has done at the beginning of the year. So that's that.
I see.
Yeah, I think the Aster exchange might have been also something that played in here, like high liquidity events. Yeah, they usually, they spark. But yeah, stablecoins overall are super interesting. Like even if you scroll up here in this section of the report, there was the stablecoin inflow year-over-year chart. I think it's one higher, this one, where you have this huge outbreak on the Solana section. On the right side, top 5 networks by stablecoin supply increase over time. And then you have Ethereum, Tron, Solana, BNB, Arbitrum, and Solana, like on year, it's insane, right? How much inflows we got basically. What do we make of this? What is your kind of reading of the numbers, DJ? If you have an idea.
Yeah. So in absolute value, Solana I think ranks 3rd or 4th depending on the timing. So ranking first still Ethereum, and then Tron, and then BNB and Solana is kind of like on par with each other. But I choose to highlight the inflow of supply here because I think it is 2025 that pushed Solana very high up top in the rank of stablecoin supply per ecosystem. So if you look at previous year, like 2023, 2024, it's quite gloomy, I would say, a little bit on Solana stablecoin because, well, you know what happened. But I think what is interesting on the increase here shows that Solana is coming back very strong, and it's ready and is very eager to compete with other like big names in the industry like Ethereum and Tron and BNB. And so I think what is very cool here is that institutions are also seeing this massive stablecoin inflow into Solana, and they see it as a sign of the ecosystem readiness to do more large scale settlements and operations. And I think that's one of the big plus for Solana for pulling in institutions, as we can see towards the end of the year.
I would love a researcher's perspective on how they see stablecoin usage as it varies between chains, right? So because I have this perception of Ethereum stablecoins are more stagnant, right? It's people who got rich a long time ago from the pump, and they more or less have their stablecoins parked in DeFi protocols. I don't know if the data supports that view, but that's my impression, right? And Tron, if you don't pay attention to the wider stablecoin universe, a lot of people are actually quite surprised. And I'm sure you get this all the time. It's like, Tron is number 2.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yes, Tron is number 2. Like, they power USD. I mean, when you say Tron, what you're really talking about is USDT rails, right? For the emerging markets.
Yeah.
And so like, that's how I kind of see like its actual usage in the real world. It's P2P payments. It's people using the dollar as a hedge against their local currency because there are capital controls in their country, and their country doesn't want them to have dollar exposure, but you can't stop people who have USDT, so people have it anyways. It's one of those kind of open secrets that we talk about, but we don't talk about at the same time. But I'd love to see, what does the data tell you about like how does a Tron or an Ethereum stablecoin? I mean, it's the same token, right? But like, how is it behaving a little bit differently than perhaps like a BNB or a Solana stablecoin?
Yeah, I think you are partly right about how stablecoins in Ethereum are not very active as compared to Solana. I think, one of the reason is for Solana and BNB to grow up real quick is it's meme coin, right? So meme coin season happened. Solana and BNB caught up on the velocity, and there's a lot of trading happening on Solana and BNB, and not a lot of that happened on Ethereum anymore, as it used to be in the past. Well, mostly because Solana has higher speed, lower fees, and the UX is much easier to do meme coin trading. So I would say yes. A lot of stable coins in Ethereum do not go through a lot of multiple trading cycle as compared to Solana. And I would not go so far as to say what is the user behavior on this chain differ, but from my perspective, it feels like Ethereum people are more, I would say, a little bit more OG and a bit more like on the safe side of the equation. And Solana people are more like younger, more active. Their risk appetite is a little bit higher, and they want to do more like active thing, constant trading, constant innovation, constant getting up on new thing. So that's also my impression, and the data on turnover rate kind of back it up a little bit.
Simon, I think that's the nicest way to say that you guys are motherfucking degens that I've ever heard in my life. She was so nice about it. She's like, yeah, a little bit higher on the risk curve, a little younger, a little bit more.
And then you have this picture of like this my lady PFP trading on Pump Fun, like some weird ass coins. It's at the other end of the spectrum. I think we got it all on Solana. That's something fair to say though, because even when I scroll through the RWA section of the report here, that is the other side of the extreme, right? Because those are very serious products. Those are very close to the real world. These products are brought to life by really serious institutions and players here. What was your rationale doing that chart when you scroll down? The tokenized stock weekend versus weekday trading volume on Solana. I found this an interesting metric. I think it was higher up. Wait a second, let me check. It was at the beginning of the DJ, what was the rationale behind this data? Like, why did you guys do this graph? What is it? What is it?
Right.
What is it telling us? Yeah.
Okay, I would be very honest here and say that it started because I'm just curious, because
Okay, that's good. That's great. I
love it. I love
the answer. That's fine. That's a good answer, but keep going.
That's the best answer. I wanted to know. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, because traditional stocks would be only available 24/5, right? And it's only
Yeah.
available on weekdays. But then we go into tokenized equities, and one of the advantages is that it is available 24/7. And you can trade even during weekends, and you have price discovery during the weekend. So what I'm curious was that, well, do people actually trade on the weekends with tokenized equities, or do they still bring the how to say do they still bring
Trading
the
sessions and
mindset
like
of the traditional
yeah.
markets into this? Well, do they still
Mm.
consider this like a traditional kind of stocks, not just like tokens on a chain? So that's where I try to do the calculations and compare trading volume weekend versus weekday. And
How do I read?
I,
How do I read the
yeah,
graph? Sorry
so
for
I find
interrupting.
out that this is the percentage of weekend trading volume versus weekday. So you see that it never goes past 100%. So the weekend volume, it's always lower than the weekday volume.
Right.
At best, it went up to like close to 80%, but that's pretty much it. It doesn't
Okay.
go higher than
Yeah.
weekday volume. And so
Yeah.
I think that people will still, there's a little bit of reservation on user side to trade during weekend, where price discovery is independent from the traditional markets. So that's
Yeah.
my observation of that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can also tell you as someone that trades here and there, there's just no volatility on the weekend. It's very boring. Like the charts are kind of dead. Like right now that's still the world we live in, because the vast majority of volume, even though we have a few tokenized stocks, the vast majority of volume happens at trading start on Monday. Like we'll see it today when US market opens. This is when you'll see the volume coming into all our Solana and whatever, but also on the stocks. So
Yeah.
like trading on the weekend is just like, what do you actually trade? Like there's no big moves. So
Yeah.
we're still we need to I think there might be a point in the future where we're over the hill, where we make it over the hill and we have enough people that are actually trading on the weekend. But that's a huge mindset shift. Like most traders are still trading based on trading sessions, US session, London session, Asia session, and so on, right?
Actually,
Yeah, but it will be
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, just want to jump in that I would go to visit this chart again, because once the New York Stock Exchange actually formalized their kind of promise that there will be 24/7 stock trading
That's
in New
different.
York Stock Exchange. So I'll come back to this
Yeah.
after that and see if the stats is going to be different.
Okay, so
Very good point.
that is a perfect answer to, like, it's like I think you must have other ideas around this, but like my big question to you is that what are the catalysts you think that we can see that would make weekend volume pick up? So of course, New York Stock Exchange formalizing their plans for whatever bullshit chain they want to do is going to be interesting. I wonder whether or not people actually participate. They should just use Solana. But like we're also seeing gold and silver spike because the US dollar is losing value. Institutional exposure to the US dollar is also decreasing over time. So I'm wondering, like, is that another catalyst? Like maybe seeing other, like gold and silver particularly spiking, like some piece of news that happens on the weekend and maybe that drives volume or something else, right? So aside from the New York Stock Exchange launching their own chain, what else do you think could be a catalyst for more weekend trading?
That's a very good question. I think I'm not sure about the behavior of Western countries where they have like long-term access to US stocks trading, but I think in Vietnam and in Asia, like in emerging countries per se, I think a lot of trading happens actually on week. I don't have data to back it up, But personally, I would use my weekend for trading because I'm so busy during weekdays doing these research reports. But I think one of the catalysts, as you would say, is the price of golds and metals spiking up. More news, more more of the stocks being available to emerging countries would also drive it up a little bit, I would say, because, well, I guess in emerging countries in Asia, like Vietnam, Southeast Asia, we don't sleep during the weekends. We don't have weekends off. So yeah, that would be really fun to see if that's actually going to happen.
Yeah. Man, I could actually talk about this shit for like another hour, but we're running up close to time. Simon, is there anything else you want to cover with DJ before we head out for today?
I think maybe just, I mean, we already asked you what was like one of the favorite stats from the report that you saw, but is there any other part in the report that you felt like talking with people about a lot? Because when you did the stat, when you did the graph, when you did the research, you felt like, oh, this is actually spicy. This is very good. Maybe for Solana, and you used it as ammunition to convince people about how great Solana is. Like, is there any particular part that we haven't mentioned yet, or maybe we mentioned already, that you felt like talking with other people about?
Yeah. So I actually have one more talking point about around this. This is the final chart in the report, which is the meme coin versus non-meme coin trading volume share of Solana over time. So we talked a lot about how a lot of the trading volume was driven by meme coin, but we actually see that its share is declining towards the end of 2025.
Yeah.
And I would say that it is a sign of market maturity. So Solana, it's no longer just a meme coin casino, if people would like to tell that. But there's a lot of other types of trading are emerging towards the end of 2025. So we see prop trading with Humidify. We see a lot of foreign L1 trading with Monad launching on Solana since day one of mainnet. Starknet is on Solana. Zora is going to be on Solana soon. So I think what is very important about this chart is that Solana is diversifying their trading, their selection of asset, of tradable assets. And I think that is a very important point to push Solana up, to propel Solana towards the vision of internet capital markets. So every type of asset can be tradable on Solana, and every type of asset should be tradable on Solana. So yeah,
the everything chain. That's the thesis.
Yeah.
The everything. That's actually great. That's a great chart. We need to see more of that on the timeline. Maybe we should post about it. But this is very interesting, and maybe meme coins are picking up a little bit again, because I see in the end of the chart that's fine, right? That's totally okay. We can use it's not about we don't want meme coin trading. It's we want other assets that deserve place as well on Solana. So we can grow the whole pie. But having like 70-80% of the whole trading volume only meme coins, that is maybe a little bit concerning. That's a sign of we're early, but now we're maturing, as DJ said, and that's probably the best way to close it off. The everything chain.
Yeah. DJ, I don't know if you're open to this, but we would love to have you back to talk about whatever new research that you have. I mean, the data is always evolving. There's always new stories to tell. Preparing a whole ass report for the end of the year, I think, is a really large endeavor. So if you ever have like little theses that you'd like to share here and there, like, dude, please message us, and we would love to have you on for, I don't know, like 15, 20, 30 minutes to talk about whatever your latest discovery is. I think the weekend versus the weekday graph was the thing that I loved the most. It's so clever, and it makes sense, like, why you would ask that question. I think that if you thought about it for 2 seconds, you like, but it makes sense though. It's really cool to track, and I'm really proud of that we have you in the ecosystem to do. Artemis also does a lot of great work. I saw that during your in your report that you do quite a bit of collaboration with Artemis, and they have chef's kiss some of the best stablecoin data. So yeah, I don't know. This is such a congratulations on this report. I think that more people should be reading it, and we would love to cover more of it because this is really, really cool stuff.
Hell yeah. So yeah, shout out to Birdeye. at Birdeye_data. If you're more interested in the intelligence side of things,
Yeah.
then follow the Birdeye data channel as well on Twitter. This is also where you will find the reports all the way pinned on top of the profile. DJ, do you have a personal account where people can follow yourself as well, or do you prefer people to follow the Birdeye officials?
Yeah, you can just follow the Birdeye official. I haven't built my account yet, but I'm getting there.
Cool.
I'm getting there.
Bro, you need to have your own personal account and be writing all these insights. I would be reading
Just
it with
data,
great
yeah.
interest. Dude, for real, like I would read that shit. Like you would be in my stablecoin full. I'd be like, yes, I listen to everything that DJ says. Actually, I have one question to ask you, which is a little bit more personal. How do you feel about being like a very serious researcher who actually looks at the data, but then, you know, the chain is associated with like NFTs and then meme coins? How do you find this balance between, because clearly you see something interesting beyond the meme coins, right? And we kind of touched on this towards the end, but I'm just genuinely curious, like, how do you, because even to myself, I have time, at times I have a hard time like rationalizing the work that I do, because it's kind of like powered by meme coin trading, but there's the 10% of stuff that's actually going to change the world. So like, how do you rationalize it or think about it? What's your mental model for like Solana and all the all the shit that we see here?
This is actually a good question, because I wrote about this on my LinkedIn. Is that the best way to understand an ecosystem inside out is to write a report on it. So if I hadn't written this report, I would still assume that Solana is like a turn on, turn off chain. Like you can switch it on and switch it off as you will. But I don't know. I wouldn't have known that there's a lot of infrastructure improvement that had happening, and I still assume that it's a meme coin casino. But it's actually like a very serious chain right now, driving growth in trading in multiple facets. So I would say like I did have a little bit of reservation stepping into the ecosystem at the beginning, especially where I started with Polkadot, like a very infrastructure heavy focused chain.
Yeah.
Like they were like, we don't talk about price, we don't talk about memes, we don't talk about any kind of speculation. It's strictly technology and infrastructure. But stepping into Solana, it's like you can talk about literally everything. You can talk about price, you can talk about speculation, meme coins, but you also talk about like infrastructure improvement. You can also talk about bringing in institutions. So I think it's a very kind of eye-opening experience for me writing this report and learning more and more about the Solana ecosystem.
Yeah, it's so diverse, right? You have the infrastructure nerds that only talk to each other about really obscure SIMDs like Solana improvement documents, and that's all they do, right? You have other nerds who are just on the DeFi side, and they look at the money flows and what are some of the consequences of like what does liquidation look like, and like et cetera, et cetera. You have the just pure for the culture meme lords, right? Who like Sol Jakey, he doesn't give a fuck about any of that stuff, right? He just cares about like what can I buy next. And then you have folks like Simon that are working on the come on, Simon. But you have folks like Simon who are working on like the identity piece. You have folks like Sanctum who are working on infrastructure. Birdeye, which is working more on like more like traditional Web 2 data services, but at the same time, like there is a lot of novel research that's being done. I mean, it's such a vibrant, Brazilian rainforest of different people, and I absolutely love this ecosystem. It's weird and strange and beautiful and scary.
It's scary.
This is
yes.
I usually describe blockchains as cities to my normal people friends. When they, I use an analogy where I say, okay, blockchains are cities and they're connected with bridges, blah blah blah. I don't want to give you the full analogy, but I was just thinking, Solana is the Berlin of the blockchains, because Berlin is a very colorful city that has a lot of cultures. Like it's not Germany anymore, right? Like it has a lot of core history of Germany, but those are relicts. But it has a lot of different languages, a lot of different genders, a lot of different businesses. You have startups there, you have banks there, you have a lot of old money, you have a lot of new money. So it's like it's this diverse city, and that's, I think it's a great match for Solana. Like we have it all, the everything chain. Anyway, let's wrap it up. I think DJ, thank you so much for jumping on.
Thank
Any
you.
last words?
No,
Good.
I think you can take it.
Please follow Birdeye.
Yes,
Exactly.
yes. So take us away. So DJ, do stay here. We'll bring you back in just a second. But Simon, please do take us out for today.
Yeah, thank you so much for watching the Sol Brothers pod today. Make sure to check out Birdeye and their latest report as well. Give them maybe some nuggets of comments in the latest tweet about the report as well, to tell them what you'd like to see in another report. And if you're not subscribing to the YouTube account yet, then follow Sol Brothers pod, subscribe to the account, and like the video if you see this on YouTube. Until next time, you have a good week. See you there.
Adios. Bye.
Okay. Cool.
Okay.
Cut. We're done.
Cut. Ending.